Hey, I'm just doing a little recording of one of the scenes for City Cat. We're working on it, as I'll say. So I've just copied a bit of one of the previous scenes, just this section. Sorry if the music's loud. Let me fix that. Is that better? Hopefully. Bring the mic close a wee bit. There we go. More intimate then. So yeah, I'm using McDraw. It's my favourite tool. A lot of people use multi-paint. Still a bit loud that. We've got a lot of people use multi-paint. I use McDraw because I have just kind of like learned to like it. You choose what you choose. So it's an online based one, and all I'm doing is just updating this scene just to look, well, complete. Because I've got this little pathway that sort of returns here as part of the map for the park. So this is a little game that's graphics are isometric style, inspired by most isometric games, but particularly the 2:1 ratio. Well, it would be 4:1 ratio, so 4 pixels across by 1 high. Not many games did that because of the obstruction you get, perhaps from things in front. It means a lot of sprite masking, which can lead to a performance hit. So I might actually trim this up a bit, you know, in a way that it makes it a bit more lenient. So, for example, putting the fence like there and opening up this pathway means a lot less stuff in front here, and quicker to get to your exit point. So I'm just going to do that. Now I've made up a little brush here which will help. The cool thing about McDraw is you can just make these little brushes on the fly, and they are great. So let's do another couple of them. Alright, and then I usually just eyeball the fence. I don't need it to be absolutely perfect. It's more like I want it to feel a little bit like a painting anyway. So yeah, let's just crop the grass here. It also means a bit easier to deal with collision. Should I draw in the foreground? Who knows? I've got a lot of red grass here, but what I tend to do is mix the colours up so I get a little bit of an extra tone. So I'll probably mix this with, I'll checker it with grey first. Then that, because those tones are quite close, it does quite an obvious blend. And I'm just imagining that we've got red grass. Do you get red grass? I suppose you get red grass, but we've got a lot of green in there as well. So I'll just kind of use that like so, as if it's like just a whole lot of poppies or something in there, but I'll break it up with green. So I like to do this. It's probably terrible for compression, the fact that I've got checkers everywhere. But we're not worried. There's not going to be too many bitmaps. We could probably manage up to about 80 or so quite easily. And as you can see, they don't take too long to make. Just the fact that I don't have a lot of time to make them. See, this doesn't work sometimes. This is the only thing. Is this checker thing doesn't always behave the way I want it to, which is a bit of an annoying thing. And I don't know if it's a version thing or the browser I'm using. But let me just export this image anyway and switch to a different. I'll switch to a different. Call it 10. I switched to a different browser. See if I can get it to work. See, this one often takes a while to load. Let's try Edge. So I should be getting the opposite that way. There we go. Because what I want is to be able to sort of get another tonal variation, see how it's like mostly grey behind. It's a slight thing. It's very moderate, and obviously I start to break colour limitation rules, but I just mix everything up at first. And the good thing about McDraw is it's not going to try and fix your colour clash as you go. It's just going to, you just run with it. You see how you get slightly different tones. And you can preview in Vice as well, like see all this right away. I love it. It will create color clash though, so what you have to do is export. I usually just do this, export, then import, and then it will fix. It was the wrong one. Don't know where it's saved to. Downloads. This one. Alright, and it will fix all the color clash in a different way, uses its own little algorithm, and it's perfect. So now I can do preview in Vice. Yeah, and I can see all the nice blend, like dark grey and reds and stuff. I think it's a bit harsh between those two tones, so I'm going to introduce a little bit of the orange here. You're just going to go wild with it until I feel quite content, and I'll add the fence in after the fact. And what's other things like that? Just checking something here, see I've got a message. Okay. Alright. And life thrown me a curveball there, as it does. You know, I just kind of want to be free to do stuff like this. It feels fun, but life keeps throwing me curveballs and other stuff to attend, especially with client work. Ugh, it's like I have a busy day. Kind of like would like to have some of that time back, that quality time. You know, it's just anyway, life takes over, doesn't it? So you see, this is just a big grassy area. I mean, eventually I'll add like some trees in. So I'll not do like the fence right away because I want to maybe add a big tree here. In fact, let's just see how that might look. Oh, I still got my checker on there. So I'll do like a big old tree, and Bob Ross style. The big old tree lives here. Alright, and then I'll do a little, it's like very big tree. Why not? We don't have a lot of big trees. Let's do a few of them. Right, because they are kind of in this shaded area, I'm gonna check them up a bit with some black, just to help create a dark brown. There's not a lot of range with the Commodore palette. It's kind of like you can use dark blue to get some dark tones, but on certain monitors it becomes a bit too vivid, and I don't like it. So I kind of just stick with black. The problem with black, it's so strong, and I've kind of balanced it by using black for the fences and stuff here. So let's do that, and a little bit of grass at the bottom, obviously some leaves and bits, and we're creating this kind of border. Oh, I just realised I've got an extra bit to play with here. So let me just grab a chunk like that and put that there. no biggie. And I'll just fix that up. Like something like that. Job done. Oh, I also had checker on, I didn't even realise that. What the hell? How'd that happen? I'll just do something like that and then just grab a bit there, you know, it's very forgiving anyway. You can see it's a bit obvious there, but I'll just plop in some red across here and here. Happy accidents, you know, they just kind of like help make the picture. Very Bob Ross style. Let's do some of this. My hand's getting a bit sore with the mouse, so luckily enough I've got a graphics tablet pen, which just makes your life so much easier. Even if you're not an artist, like, I recommend it. You can use it for a lot of things. See all the tone work you get in there? It's really nice, like, just for free, right? So yeah, I love it. I love mixing these colours up. It's kind of like I kind of became a little bit addicted to doing C64 art again, and I've done more C64 art in the last month than I have in the last 4 years, it feels like. So it's actually a nice little side passion. So I'm just kind of making little rock shapes here, and I suppose I should darken them up a bit. There we go. And even the occasional little, do a little highlight on these. I might not get away with it, there's so much colour clash, but we'll soon see once I export. That looks quite decent. Right. Okay. So I'm curious to know what my guy wants. He's a good guy, but I don't know how much more client work I can manage at this point. It's I run a team of artists, but it's like I manage them so much I don't get any real work done myself. And come 5 o'clock, like, you know, or 4:30, I do like to play. You know, I'm working from literally as soon as I wake up at 6:30 anyway. So it's kind of justified. My day is kind of broken up like that. Right, here we go. Some pretty little daubs, like so. Let's see if I can do a little pink in here. Yeah, it looks a bit odd. Let's checker these up. Yeah, I'm just mindful of how much the colours start to clash too much together. I'm squinting my eye a lot because it blurs stuff. Like, so you close one eye and squint the other, and you start to see things as if you were looking at them in a glance. Is how I like to think of it. So it's like if you just looked at it, then you get to see it in a sort of different way. Of course, you still need to go in and sort of clean it up a bit though. And I'll put in a little stick or two in black here. I just want this to look a wee bit more branchy. That's quite nice. Yeah, it's like painting in the nth degree. You can't really colour mix. You can kind of wing it to get something that looks sort of decent. But you can see it's becoming a nice little scene you can imagine strolling along here. I'm tempted to make the fence like not there and add rocks and leave it open. Like that. I quite like that the way it is. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of destroy this fence here. In fact, let's just pretend it's somewhat connected to this lamppost. Let's put a little bin in or something. Maybe a little sign. Seem to like my little signs everywhere. Yeah, and then I'll just put a little brown in there or something. Still needs to be visible, so I either use a light color or a dark color. Obviously black kills the image and it starts to look like a silhouette, so I'll need to go for a tone that makes sense. It's really difficult. Highlighting the edges sort of helps. Let's just do a checker on it and hope I get away with it. Right. So there's tons of color clash in this. Boom. Right. So what you do is you just export. This is my little cheat, and then you import. And you can see quite obviously some bits where it's chose to do its own thing. So what I'll do is I'll kind of force it. I think it measures the amount of colors inside a block and then decides what's best that way, but it's very little change. It's great. I think it's awesome the way it just works for me that way. I could put in some browns in here. I think browns look a bit darker against the red. Just kind of like push them to the right. So I make these little rounded, I'm making little arcs like that, just to sort of signify the darker side of things on the right, as if the light is sort of coming from over to the left. So yeah, so let's now draw the tops of the fences. So I'm going to use the lines there. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm going to use blue for this. In fact, I'm going to do a little pond here, just because I think that'll look nice. So I'll just draw that in like that. And green is a very good light color to light blue. I find green works quite well, so I can do a little bit of that as a kind of edge thing. Heck it, let's throw in a little cherry blossom in there, actually would be cool. That looks pretty decent. And then I'll do a little shadow or reflection, something like that. And then a little water shine. Job done. More or less. Maybe it needs just a little bit of dark blue or something like that. So, and then a little edge. Some little grassy edge here and there. Right, and then I guess I need to finish up because I need to go and do daddy stuff now. Family run, go and pick up everyone from I was going to say the airport. Pick everyone up from train station and stuff. It is a little noisy, so what I do is I just throw in some lines here and there just to get rid of the obvious noise of everything being checkered. Right, but this is looking alright. I'm just going to try and accentuate the kind of hill here. It's not easy to do that, but let's try. A few weird bits here and there as well. Let's try throwing a bit of blue. makes a nice little purpley tone against the red. And you can just like get all these different little tones for free, right? That's nice. And what I like to do is push some blue colours, put them further up to the top, because blue is kind of like a going away tone, and then warm colours are like a coming forward tone, so you put a lot of your warmer tones to the foreground. Little artist trick for you there. It's like cooler tones, something to do with the frequency of the light or something. It takes longer to reach your eye or whatever, something like that. There's the science behind it, at least. Do some little yellow diffs here and there. It's a bit too much. Just gonna get that pink back in there, and then brown. And then let's fix that up a bit with black. I think that looks quite alright. What I will do though is just fix this fence so it's a bit bolder, even though it is the top of it. That looks alright. Let's just fix the bin. I'll do a little highlight there, and obviously I've got colour clash everywhere, so let's just get rid of that stuff. Colour clash everywhere as usual, so export the PNG, import it, check for any obvious. Always use this image because it's just easier to determine everything in one go. I can just fix the odd little bit here and there. But I can always come back to this and do more, right? It's not the end. I can do whatever else more I want. I'm going to use brown here. I'm just trying to make a little kind of fence shadow. I don't know how much of it I'll get away with, but right, and export that. And the good thing is, every time I export, it kind of acts as like a build-up image for if I want to do a little time lapse. Right, so the only obvious thing I see is like this here, but this could be, I'm going to turn this into a little monument, not monument, like a little stone rock. See, just doing that just helped a bit there. See, I'm getting messaged by someone. Right, big clash there, but if I don't know, if I export and then import it again, it will fix itself, and yeah, it looks like something. Right, this now looks like rubbish. I don't like the two things being there. They're kind of fighting for space, and the bin, you know, they're all kind of fighting for what do you call it? Fighting for land almost. Right, some little roses in there, whatever. Not used a lot of purple, but it's fine. Let's do a little few highlights on this tree, and I think this is yellow's the brighter one of these. I will not get away with this. There's too much colour clash there, so I'll just undo them. So let's just try one more export and import. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't like this here. That's gonna be fixed. So they're using up the full tile there. There's just too many colours getting in the way. Let's just round that off with some grey. Let's see what it does once I export and re-import. Also, like here as well, this is really a bit of an eyesore. Aye, I guess that should do it. There's probably room to put another rock or something here, just to complement that rock. Let's make it kind of big. Ow, getting RSI. Okay. The good thing is black's my background colour and it is quite effective at enhancing some things. I'll kind of make it pick out some foreground shapes. Just gives it a little bit of a vignette when you add these little silhouetted forms in the foreground, and I like to do it just at the corners a little bit like that, and then some little shapes like that. That's quite nice. Alright, import one more time, that will fix the color clash, and then preview and vise. Job done. You can see it's really obvious there and there, like the stepping here. So yeah, you can kind of see it there. I think it's just a case of trying to force in this tone over the red. Yeah, it needs a bit of work. It's minor, right? It's so minor that it's that blue is just getting in the way. But yeah, little things like that will happen. Right, so one more time, and I'll just call it done now. But I need to import it just to fix the minor color clash. Hopefully it doesn't make, yeah, it's not too bad. Whatever. So that's really that. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.